fact you're not here. You ain't even real, but you still bring me fear. You make my bones so tired that my soul stands up. But now I'm starting to need to bleed to fill this cup. It's like I'm starting to need to bleed to fill this cup. Oh.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to The Working Wing, the podcast where every week we bring you news from around the country and around the world, except we don't do that. Sometimes we're just here to talk about Succession, and that's the case this week. My name is Tim Schultz, and joining me, as always, my dear friend, longtime debate partner, and a man who can do a coup in old Peru, who can drive a van in Tajikistan, who can be our fun guy and you're a guy. He's Killian Collins.
Thank you, Tim. It's good to be here. And it's, I think Uruguay would be fun. It would be a good fit,
Yeah.
Any one of the Slavs at this point, any one of the Slovenias at this point.
Anything he can get. Alas, Kentucky. We will get into it.
Alas, I shan't become that, Tim. I shan't become that. Well, yeah, we were just talking before the show. There wasn't tons of news we really wanted to jump on. There was a debt ceiling issue that's still jumping around, and I'm sure
Biden's talking to the Republicans. They're figuring out how much they can fuck poor people in order to accommodate this made-up crisis that we have every couple of years.
Yeah.
So we will be reporting more on that later on.
Yeah, as it goes on. But in the meantime, Biden did fuck over some poor people in the meantime with increasing Medicare costs. So hey, never forget, hey, he's there for us. But mostly we feel like really this week, this episode of Succession, season 4, episode 8, we felt that this episode was really the perfect Working Wing episode. It has all the juicy things we need. It has election drama. It has states being called when they shouldn't have. It's got Milwaukee, Wisconsinite drama there. It's got an ultimate sibling betrayal in there. I mean, it's just kind of meant for us to analyze. And it's kind of the type of thing that we're trying to jump for with the West Wing, but this really encapsulates it, and it's a current show, so it doesn't hurt. And
more than like any West Wing episode, this episode speaks really to like the current American political moments.
Oh, for sure. It's funny because we'll get into it, but there's many callbacks to a couple of recent elections.
Yeah,
into this. And that recent we mean going back 20 years. But thinking about it, since that time, there's been 5 elections. 4 or 5-ish elections.
Yeah.
I don't know, Tim. Do you want me to start off, or should I let you decide it? I got a pretty detailed notes here for this one.
I have a shit ton of notes as well. Although towards the end, I'm going to need your help because my pen died while I was doing my note pass on the episode. So.
Oh, okay.
But we will. But yeah, so
this episode is titled "America Decides."
America Decides. Yes,
very fun, ironic title for this one. I love it. And we do start out with Tom. Greg basically asking Tom, "Yeah, how's it going, man?" And Tom is basically, not gotten any sleep.
He's on a precipice.
Yeah. Like he's got a wedge between his ass for sure that he's got to keep there all day, and he is feeling pretty tense with his head on the chopping block, depending on what numbers they get. And Greg's feeling pretty good. He says,
"Yeah, Greg's good. Don't worry, everyone. Greg's good."
Which is surprising considering what he says later on, because I would not be too good after what Greg just went through the night before. So, then we get there's a lot of phone calling in this episode. So, forgive me if I just mentioned
sometimes multiple phones at once.
Yes. A lot of communication. They were really big fans of phone communication this season, which I mean is true in the real world as well. So, All right. Ken's calling Tom and says that he needs game busters today, buddy. It's like, hey, pal, just, I don't really care what happens. Just make sure we make all this, make sure that we do great. Make sure we look great for this, just
the worst type of boss. like the kind of guy who just needs to be on your neck to justify his own existence. And then we find out that Kendall is not only a shit boss, he's also, I mean, we knew he was a shit dad, but we get that reinforced when his ex-wife calls him panicked because there's a strange car following her and her daughter around the city, only to find out that, hey, no, that's Ken's SUV. He's just adding an extra layer of bubble wrap to the whole situation without bothering to communicate in any way, shape, or form with his family.
Right. Like, instead of telling, and like the shitty, like telling her that's all right. Like,
it's all right. I'm not going to let anyone push you. What a piece of shit. But we will have many more times to call Kendall a piece of shit
throughout the rest of this. Like, this is probably the strongest he looks all episode. Like this is probably like the height of his strength this episode. So anyway, Tom gets Shiv starts like, coming and questioning Tom about like, hey, you're seeing what's going on with some of these things going on in Milwaukee here, and
so we get the Milwaukee drops early.
And Tom's just kind of throwing out like, oh, that's a firecracker, or it's not even the firecracker thing. It's like, oh, that's a nothing thing. It's hey Pam, did you get that lady on the TV who said that like, someone voted for her mother 41 times? And of course Pam is like, yeah, she does. She doesn't check out. Like, she's
like, are you an expert, Pam? Are you a medical expert?
Get her on the air.
Get her on the air.
Get her on the air. And Tom also suggesting to it seems like their political correspondent, Darwin.
He's like, so I think this is a real thing where like all these networks do have like a numbers guy, who like analyzes all the exit polls and all reported data to like actually determine when mathematically they can confidently make the call.
Gives them the kind of privileged information and kind of keeps them ahead of it. But Tom suggesting to him is like, oh yeah, we might have to do like adult diapers for people depending on how bad things get here.
There's always time for the bathroom,
Tom. Greg, and
Greg reveals us details about his night.
This is during like the meeting that Darwin's having with the whole staff they're supposed to be listening to and being leaders for. And Greg's telling him about like, I was out with the Swedes and they have some unseemly venues. Like even the disgusting brother, the most disgusting of the disgusting brothers, was so appalled by this. And it was the event of they made me dance with an old man. He didn't want it either. He didn't want
it either. Greg thinks that aren't supposed to be drinks. Yeah. Like, were they just like terrorizing a homeless guy or something? I don't know.
That's what, I kind of was along that too. Cause I was like thinking like, okay, like how would this happen? Like this had to have been like, like the Roman Kendall, like fucked up thing that they did that one time and making them get a tattoo. Oh, geez Louise. But
I feel like, all right, also like Greg, all right. I feel like, Killian, I have had several moments with you where like you will just kind of like go off the radar for a little bit, and when you resurface, you'll just be like telling the rest of us about like what you were up to in this sort of tone.
It was fucked up, dude.
He was fucked up, man.
I don't know what I was doing there. I don't know what. Like I was scared, dude. It was fucking scary, man.
Yeah.
Yes, it has happened many a drunken night before. And you're not the only people I've done that too. So, anyway, Greg told him that he also reveals that he knows about Shiv and Madison's little special relationship. Yes. He kind of tells Tom that and kind of hoping it's like, hey, buddy, I got like information about this. Like, about this dude. Like, you want to burn her? Like, you want to burn her? And Tom replies with some very sage advice of telling him that information
is like a fine wine. Yeah.
You save it and then you wait for a special occasion and you break it over somebody's face. So that was absolute sage advice from Tom. Then we get cut to Ken basically getting Jimenez, who's the Democratic candidate, his leading we get information that he's leading the exit polls. He's looking like this is going to happen. Shiv and Rome are like at each other's throats about like whose guy is going to really win. Rome is like unequivocally like Menken's his guy. Menken is his ticket in there. That's his main ticket to like be the head of the company. That's his main primary ticket since all of his other his other
and they've had like and they've had like sort of a weird fascination, maybe quasi erotic subtext between the two of them since we first saw Menken last season.
Interesting. I pictured much more of a father-son thing, but I can kind of see your point.
They're pretty close to the same age, aren't they?
Menken seems maybe like, I mean, Menken seems more like he's like got 20 years. It seems like he could be a dad.
Oh, really? I had Menken picked as like being like mid 40s and Roman as like late 30s, early 40s.
Oh, maybe. I always picture Roman a little bit younger. Maybe
he's got that energy to him. And actually, we'll put a pin in that note, and we'll come back to it later in the episode.
Let's do that. Oh, 1 second. I gotta make sure I got. Boop. Ooh. All right. And yeah, we get a call. Yeah, Shiv gets lots of calls from Lucas during this episode, and she's basically reassuring Lucas Madison that that Jimenez is probably favored. The ex-polls are saying him like he doesn't have to negotiate with like a scary Plato-loving fascist like Mencken coming into office. And yeah, we hear about these fake vans that Mencken is starting up, where they're just picking people up. Yeah, the fun vans that they're picking people up and dropping them off by the highway. And yep, disinformation. Yeah, Rome does the Alex Jones Alex Jones dialogue and says it's a false flag operation, which we're just seeing more and more often things that are getting called false flags all the time, to the point of like, well, you can't even tell what's which anymore. I mean, it does make me think back to the gold BLM days, where even me was trying to tell people like, yes, that umbrella guy is working for the police. Yes, he is. Like, he is definitely like for sure doing this shit. That's a false flag. And there are provocateurs out there. So
there are,
they're out there.
Bad faith actors abound.
Oh yeah, they're abound, and they love doing violent shit. They always suggest the violent shit, but that's not us, people. That's not us. That's neither here nor there. Yeah. Then we have Shiv calling Nate. She's he's kind of worried about things. He asks her who watches The Watchmen.
Yeah. And she's like, "Oh, I fucking watch The Watchmen," which is like, whatever, Shiv. This is not a strong Shiv episode.
No,
her self delusion is running high here. Yeah, it's always interesting to the extent to which like Shiv actually believes her own bullshit. Because she is not watching any Watchmen here tonight. She's
not in charge of shit. No one's wanting to listen to her anyway. I mean, she's from a weak negotiating standpoint too, because that's the thing is like, they didn't pick their front runner at the DNC convention. They picked it at the RNC convention.
Yeah,
that's where they picked their candidate, their guy. And so, like, to have Shiv think that she can kind of build that bridge between a candidate that like really isn't going to get anything out of ATN, that really doesn't like want anything. It's kind of just, I don't know what she's looking for. Ken tries to call Nate to try and inroad a little bit with Jimenez. Jimenez does not bite at all. It's just hey, buddy.
Kendall Jimenez is so awkward. He's like, I have to talk to this guy, but like, what the fuck, dude? Like, go away. Hey, great to talk, man. Great to talk. He says that like 3 times.
Yeah.
Without saying anything.
Yeah.
We'll catch up. Yeah.
It sounds like you meet someone at a funeral that you really don't want to see, and you tell them all the bullshit just to get them off your ass. And Kendall tells them it's going to be fair as fuck.
I'm going to make sure it's
fair as fuck.
Fuck, bro.
As fair as fucking is. And, we always know with every fuck that there's a lot of give and take, and it's always equal. It's always equal. It's always fair. We cut to Rome. Roman gets a call to go and meet with Menken's team very quickly, and he goes to his headquarters, and Menken is fucking distraught and asks for a word with Roman. He says he needs help with the narrative because it's looking like they're going to lose.
Right.
And
but even if he loses, he's not a loser.
Yes.
He's not. He might not be the president, but he'll be Roman's president. He'll be ATN's president.
So basically, this guy is like, what's his name from Venezuela? Juan Guaido, basically.
Yeah.
Like just basically saying I won an election and propping himself around like he's done it because he got a corrupt news organization to call.
Also, just in America, what Donald J. Trump has been doing for the past 3 years now.
Saying he's still saying it's bullshit, but we're gonna win the next one. I still have faith in the system.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, hey, it's a slogan. It's what and that's what Roman keeps kind of going with. It's just like, hey, it's IP, it's a tactic. There you go. They do the same shit too. Like, fuck it, whatever. So basically he's asking Roman to say I'm overperforming. And Roman just says, okay, you and me. Menken tells him, you and me will go far.
Yeah.
Over the road and into the bar.
Over the road and into the bar. That's Roman's line when it comes to Menken. Also, in there, I mean, there's so many quick. The pacing of this episode is so frenetic. There's so many quick 2-person scenes. They're in there for 2 minutes and then they're out. In there, it was like a call between Shiv and Madsson, where Madsson reveals that he's now talking business strategy with Greg.
Oh, I forgot. He brought that up then.
Which is like, I don't know, man. Madsson has been taking some L's these past few episodes, and now he's like consulting Greg about business while coked up he's basically Tom at this point.
Yeah.
Like he was originally introduced as like a foil for Logan, and now he's just doing some Tom level shit.
Yeah. I mean, he does kind of seem clownish.
He does.
In his way. I think when we're done with this series, we'll have to go into a little King Lear analysis with this because there's a lot of about that stuff in there. Greg asks for Tom for Greg. Then we cut back to Greg following around Tom, asking him for advice about what to do with this Madison stuff, and Tom starts getting on his high horse and saying like, Greg, I need coffee. I need you to do all my bitch work, basically.
Yes. Well, because as Tom lays out, there is a clear and totally logical and pretty much inevitable line between Tom not getting coffee and the nuclear holocaust of the entire human species. This
if he has to piss for a few minutes.
This scene in general is just like fucking comedy gold because from coffee to they do cocaine about it.
Yes.
Greg doesn't want to do cocaine because he did cocaine the previous night and he doesn't want to get addicted. And Tom's not having any of that.
It's good for your brain.
It's medically good for your brain. Are you telling me all the Aztecs are wrong? Stop being a racist pussy about it.
Love that line. I love the woke excuse. Like he does use that on Tom once in a while of like, this will appeal to you fucking bleeding heart.
So they are doing cocaine together. They are now up for the night
with the subtlety. I think it's about as subtle as them like looking around for horrors in the middle of the night. Like,
because they just like duck behind the whiteboard, but like still very much in front of the window. It's not
are not slick about it at all.
No,
like, they're not slick in the littlest sense.
Greg or Tom spots. This is when Chekhov's gas station sushi or bodega sushi is first introduced. That's just the sushi is just sitting on the table waiting to go off. Mm-hmm. Tom's digestive system is part of the Constitution, so he's not going to be having any bodega sushi tonight.
Yeah, but then he gets interrupted with a call from Connor. And Connor is just going like, hey, look, man, I got my film crew of filming, and I'm just not seeing it on the air, man. Like, hey, what's going on? Like, any of those votes could be as good as me. And Willow whispers in his ear, like, Schrodinger's cat. Yeah, Schrodinger's cat. All those votes could be mine. They all could.
You don't know until they're counted. You just don't know. Willa in this scene is like very interesting because it's just like, damn girl, how deluded are you?
Yeah.
You. I mean, you're not. You turned down living in a compound in Oman, and that's fair. But like, it seems like he. Sorry, she actually thought that Connor had a chance here.
I think she was just being supportive. I think she was telling him how to negotiate. He was listening. I think that she's better at this game than Connor is. And honestly, she's grown on me a lot. And I'm hoping I'm hoping she's in the contention. I'm hoping she's a contender. Like Connor just gets it all by the off chance and then just dies.
No, like watching this scene, I was like, okay, like Jesse Armstrong, the showrunner, came up in like the Armando Iannucci, like in the thick of it, and Hello Minister, and all of those like UK political comedy shows, and I feel like those chops are really on display with all the Connor stuff. And I came to the conclusion watching this episode that like if we're gonna get us, spinoffs are kind of inevitable in this media landscape, and a Connor Roy spinoff about his just insane political career could be fun.
I think it'd be fun. I know the Working Wing would probably give it a watch.
Yeah, definitely.
For fucking sure.
But so then like immediately after the call, because Connor is telling Tom it all could come down to Kentucky.
Yeah.
And then immediately after he hangs up the phone, Kentucky's results are announced, and Connor Roy did not win Kentucky.
Mencken won it by handily.
Yeah. To which Willis says, "Fuck Kentucky." But then Connor, because he is no. Willa. Alas, Kentucky. Alas, vanity. It's like such a like. It's like again, like that's what I'm talking about. Of like the potential gold of a Connor Roy spinoff. Give Alan Ruck a turn at the hot seat.
Really, he makes me want to rewatch Ferris Bueller. All right.
Yeah.
Damn. Then we get Pam asks for the spin, and Pam is Tom's basically second in command, basically handling like the newsroom on the floor. Pam asks for the what spin that she should put on the intimidation that's been going on from Tom. And basically by intimidation, she's talking about the vans, this incident in Milwaukee. What kind of spin are we going to go with this? Tom is absolutely pawning this off and being just like, in the clouds and just saying like, yep, just do whatever you want. I trust your judgment, Pam. Okay, bye. And then a touchscreen starts malfunctioning, producing crazy gate. Numbers.
Yes,
yeah, touchscreen gate. Yeah. Tom rages into the control room with Kendall blowing up his phone, asking what the fuck's going on here. I'm gonna come down there and put you through a fucking touchscreen. Tom also does what like most of my bosses have done in my life and pawns it off on me. I'm sorry, Greg. Pawns it right off on Greg. Hands him the phone for Greg to be screamed at. I think Shiv then comes in demanding Tom like, hey, what the fuck's going on? Why aren't you covering this fire in Wisconsin? Tom is telling her over the phone that, well, yeah, we have a unique perspective and we just need to like respect our audience. And so Shiv's saying like, okay, so by not telling him shit they don't want to hear, by not telling him the truth.
It's like, Shiv, have you literally had your head buried in sand? This is what your family's legacy is.
That's all her dad does.
This is why you hated your dad, despite what you're going to say later. This is why you hated it, why you hated your family's company and weren't involved with it until it looks like your dad was going to be gone.
Right. And then Rome comes blazing into the room saying, hey, here what Antifa
that's
did.
Antifa, yeah, that's Antifa firebombing, y'all. And it's like, God damn.
Like a true Nazi, always blaming the commies, always blaming the anarchists, always blaming the fires that they set on whatever leftists that they can.
But yeah, so like this is escalated like pretty rapidly throughout the episode because like they kind of say that 150,000 ballots were destroyed in this fire, which I mean, Wisconsin is a state where like our statewide elections come down to 10,000 votes, 50,000 votes. Like
I'd be going out there. I'd be out there on the streets demanding a revote. Like, believe me, like I'd be like, bro, you've burned down my vote, dude. Nah, dude, like you're gonna get hell. Even though I probably would have voted independent. I probably would have voted for that other candidate that wasn't Connor Roy. Depending on Jimenez's politics, which if Shiv's willing to vote for him, I'm sure he's gonna be. I'm sure.
Yeah. No candidate that Shiv Roy is supporting has your and I's interest at heart.
Probably not. But I don't know. Menschken looks scarier than Trump, so I'm like, maybe I might be scared.
He does.
Yeah. Yeah. Tom hands off the phone to Greg. Yeah, Shiv is basically saying that like, well, these are Democratic votes are burning that have gotten burned down because it's Milwaukee, and historically, typically, that's where most of the Democratic votes come out of in Wisconsin. Yeah, that at Madison, but
that at Madison, yeah.
Rome keeps basically saying false flag, like basically being Ben Shapiro. It's like reminds me of all episode. But ballots have been lost. Mencken's team needs the narrative to continue. That's what they're telling Rome is that like we need this to like keep going, just like go with this momentum. And Nate's team calls Shiv and says, we got bodies. We got bodies in here. We're more concerned about
they're all ready for like basically it's Florida in 2000. It's Milwaukee is going to be beset by literal armies of lawyers.
Yeah. Then we get the kids running down to the control area because they're all
because there had been a couple beats up until this point where they're like, oh yeah, no, on election night we stay up in the corporate office and we don't go down to the news floor.
Yep.
That was apparently one of Logan's, hard rules is, you don't go on the news floor on election night, and they violate that immediately.
Yep. All three of them do. Tom needs him to go fuck off, so he tells Greg to round him up, which Greg, does his Greggish job of doing it, of doing it where they don't listen to him at all.
He is not the man for that job, though, to be fair. Like, to be fair to Greg, he is not the man for that job.
It says way more about Tom than anything, but also they wouldn't have listened to Tom either. The only person that is there for that job is Logan, and he no longer around. Shiv, there's a reporter coming in, so Tom's on a big time crunch. And then Shiv says that I need to talk to you real quick. He's already he's only got 3 minutes.
He's got 2 minutes. He's running the election coverage for a major network. He's got 3 maniacs breathing down his neck. But yes, his wife wants to talk to him. And he's coked out. This conversation, man, is it's rough.
It's a rough on a lot of sides, and it's another great 2-person scene. But yeah, Shiv basically really tries to in an apology that could only whose genuinity can only be replicated by Saul Goodman. Of just saying that I shouldn't have said some shit, I have regrets, and to which Tom says what do you want me to say?
What do you want me to and immediately she goes to my dad died. My dad is dead. I'm going through so much because I have this dead dad here. And it feels so overwrought and manipulative. It's obscenely unlikable. And then when she gets nothing there, because Tom hits her with the you fucking hated your dad.
Right. Right. Perhaps I was only with your dad when he was dying because you could not stand him.
Yeah, exactly. Because she goes back to that, you stole 6 months of of my time with dad. And it's like, you didn't talk to your dad. Like, you weren't like having barbecues like out on the porch with him or anything.
I wasn't keeping you away from him. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't telling him to like screw you. I was doing my job. Like,
and Tom adds that like you sort of killed him, which is rough. That's kind of unfair. But like,
he's just trying to hurt her. Yeah, and then I think Shiv comes back with the reveal after that.
Yes, like because she's getting nothing and he's hurting her, so I don't know, and I guess this is like an attempt just to get this. It's not like it's not. I think she genuinely is like having a breakdown here, but she reveals that she is pregnant, and
baby.
Yeah, and I think Tom kind of understandably does not believe her at first.
I think so. I'm glad you caught on that, Tim, because I thought so too. I think at first he
genuinely does not believe her.
Yeah. And I think at first, because then Shiv just says like, okay, and she kind of can't believe it.
And she has like, and when she cracks like that, you can see Tom's reaction too. As she like cracks and walks away, you can see Tom kind of have the realization that like, oh shit, this is real.
Yeah, maybe I really fucked up here. Maybe I said the wrong things to the person carrying my child, who actually will bear my baby. But it's also, he's coked up. He's got other shit to think about. He's got to jump on other things. Like it's not like, I feel like for him, a lot of things wouldn't seem real at that time. Shiv walks out, Tom walks out. Shiv basically goes up to her siblings and says that Tom is just like an immoral piece of shit. Like, you cannot trust him. You can't, like, he's just fuck him. Like, fuck Tom. Him. like completely. Siblings have they've got her.
They got her back. They got her back. They are tight, they are unified, and they're gonna kill Tom. It's gonna be great.
We get Connor showing up to the building, and he goes up to Rome and asks about that. Hey, what about that Mencken deal? Oh, well, actually, no. They calls Roman and asks him, hey, what about this Mencken deal? You think I can get like a little ambassadorship somewhere or something? And Roman explains that was a yesterday deal. You've now potentially cost him the election, so you ain't gonna get shit. and Khan, to his credit, keeps fighting. In Wisconsin, still have no vote. We learn from Darwin, I believe, that Wisconsin has no votes counted until all the absentee votes are counted. So they can't call Wisconsin until all the absentee ones are there. Rome is fighting to say, nope, Mencken won Wisconsin. We count all the votes besides the destroyed ones. He won Wisconsin. We can't have a revote. We can't do anything. Shiv, of course, does what you and me would do and say that, yes, you have to count all the Democratic votes.
Because those 150,000 absentee votes from Milwaukee are just demographically probably 80% at least.
Definitely swayable. Swayable in the election. There's no other. Darwin said that there's no other votes throughout the state that could really sway, but right now there's a margin. There's a significant margin for Mencken that this Democratic district could indeed do this. And they chose Milwaukee precisely because there is a physical location where there are these physical votes on paper right there. And that is scary to think about, to know that. I just hope these buildings are protected like vastly. So then some fighting begins between Shiv and Rome, just about defending the election. And then, which really for each of them, there's really no stake in the political outcome for them, like for themselves. Like they're both rich as fuck. They're both going to be fine either way. But they bring up the Gojo deal, which is basically the main motivating factor for each of them. That's where their real politics are involved there. It's the personal politics that's only there for them, because Rome is basically, and Rome has a point to his credit, is that, well, we have Mencken in our pocket. Like, he's already there for us. He's gonna kill the Gojo. He's gonna do whatever we ask.
But then again, I also feel like Rome is being incredibly naive and stupid here.
He is,
because there is absolutely nothing compelling Mencken to keep the deal.
Yes.
And if Mencken reneges, what's ATN gonna do? Like start criticizing Mencken and piss off their entire base?
Yep.
Like that's not gonna happen.
Yep. It's basically tethering them to something like that. And to which but to which the alternative, Jimenez, they didn't try to butter up at all. They really don't have much of a shot with him, and Rome's pointing that out, is that like, well, we have less of a shot with the other guy. So who do you want to make happy here? Like, who are we going to call it for? Because we could change the election for him, that is what they're doing. They're completely changing it up there. And all Shiv really does have is just kind of this weak defensive,
this weak democracy, which I don't think Shiv even really fucking believes.
No,
I think she is way more concerned about her end of the deal and Matsson than she is about her brothers.
Yeah,
because it all comes down to running Roy Star, and Matsson is Shiv's ticket to running Roy Star.
Yeah. 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 So she's invested with it. But yeah, so far with these arguments, Ken is kind of the undecided factor who's taking a back seat and doesn't really know which way to go with it. And so far with these points made about the Gojo deal, he's so far siding with Kendall and therefore Mencken. Tom just says he's gonna call Wisconsin. He's calling it, and the siblings are still defiant as fuck about it. We then cut to Jimenez on TV talking about fire in Milwaukee.
Yeah, and we get our first shot of the corpos tonight, and Hugo's just like, "You're so fucking boring. Take your dick out. Flop your dick on the podium.
Be exciting. We'd actually cover you." Yes. Yep, margin significant in Milwaukee. In Wisconsin, the votes couldn't be made up unless by the votes destroyed. And a revote. Darwin tells Shiv that a revote is highly unlikely. Will take a while, and there's a lot of legal red tape, and there's no law in Wisconsin that says what to do with this. So
it would come down to the conservative Supreme Court. So Mencken probably has it. Like I think Darwin even says that. He's like, probably Mencken would win the legal battle eventually, but. Yeah, and Shiv is getting angry. Tom says she's hysterical, and Kendall jumps in to be like, "Hey, shut the fuck up, Tom! You shut the fuck up."
Yep,
trying to be a good brother here, I guess.
Yep. I mean, to be fair, Ken has stepped up for his siblings before in terms of like when they get smacked around,
a little bit. Yeah, you're right. Like literally smacked around. Like when Logan slaps smacks Rome and Kendall's like
he gets really good. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is it's like, well, that instinct can be there. Does he ignore it? Oh yeah. So I'm still not saying that Kendall's an amazing brother or a good father or a good family man in general at all. I'm not trying to claim that, but he will get defensive when he feels like it's the right thing occasionally. Like occasionally he could do more for his daughter, really, certainly. If only he had that same sort of courage for her. Ken is unsure of what to do, and we cut to Ravenhead.
Because Rome exits, and he goes and he talks to Ravenhead and sets Ravenhead / Tucker Carlson in motion.
Pretty much.
And man, the guy who played Ravenhead does such a fucking good Tucker Carlson impression. It's goddamn eerie.
Yeah. Oh, I think Tucker tries to sound a little bit more like he's saying something there, but no, this guy really does it there. Like I do agree. This dude does a very good Tucker alternative universe impression.
Yeah.
Much like how what's his name from Spider-Man did a good Alex Jones impression. I can't remember what his name is in the Marvel movies, but whatever. Shiv, Shiv takes a Lucas call on the floor, and Lucas is starting to look a little nervous about Wisconsin being called and asks if he's going to have to get cozy with Mr. Scary. And says like, tells her like, I've been talking to Greg. Make sure they don't break my toy, Shiv. Just make sure they don't break my fucking toy. And then Shiv hears this Greg information. Her head turns. And she finds Greg on the floor and she says, come with me. And she takes him to a dark little office and Shiv is
so fucking stupid here. This entire conversation, I mean, it's intense, you know, do you want to fuck me, Greg? But like, we have seen stuff like this play out before. And like, you know how Logan got Greg on his side? He like gave Greg a rum and coke and told him that he was a good kid like once.
Yeah.
That's literally all it took. Kendall gave Greg a house, an apartment, and like Greg was his like obedient lackey for like a whole season after that.
Yeah.
if Shiv had just been like, "Hey, Greg, stick with me, and I'll make
here's
sure
something
you're
nice.
taken care of." Yeah, here's something nice.
Greg takes much better to the carrot than the stick. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, she threatens Greg and says like, yeah, you're not going to say anything else about like Massa. You try to fuck me at all, like I'm going to eat you alive. And yeah, keep your snout out, your lumber, get out of here. And Greg tries to do the simple thing that like Logan, I tried to offer with him before. And we're like, you know,
like, hey,
Logan,
how silence is golden, but how golden is it? And
yeah, an offer.
Shiv is just like, I'll let you keep your intestines. It's like, Shiv, you're not that scary though.
And you don't have the leverage.
You don't have any leverage here.
Yeah. Because he has all the leverage and you need to kind of offer him something to like stay sweet.
Yeah.
Because honestly, and that's the thing, he can snap and screw you anytime. He just, the problem is that just Greg didn't know at the time, like how significant that was. I don't think he knew how significant his information was to Kendall or Rome or any of them. I think he just was listening to what Tom said of save it for a special occasion, which it becomes. Yeah, Rome says Mencken.
Yeah, he's got the deal. He's got the plain corrupt English. Like even the Supreme Court would be forced to call this corruption.
Yeah. Which I'm hoping the next couple episodes start getting into about like the SEC violations. And
yeah,
stuff.
I don't know. It's weird. There's 2 episodes left. I don't know how much time they're gonna have for the fallout for this.
I'm just hoping that last episode's like an hour and a half.
That would be cool.
That would be cool. I'd be there for it. Rome says they should call it. They should call the nation for Mencken. Once they have Arizona, Mencken's got 270. It's there. He absolutely just is pushing on Tom to call it. I have the authority to do so.
And they're pushing on Darwin, their stats guy, their official their official election calls are, and they kind of sweet talk him. They're like, no, it's a pending call, and you know what, Darwin, we're gonna put you on camera. We're gonna have some nice graphics up, and you can explain to everyone the complexities of the situation. So Darwin agrees, and they call Wisconsin.
And while he's at the computer, he and before he starts the laptop up, he rubs his eyes.
Yes. Well, it's Greg is this like, so I feel like this could just be Greg being like incompetent, or it could be, is this sabotage? Is this Greg doing like chemical warfare, like Spec Ops shit? Like
the convenience of it made me think that, but then like I kept watching this part again because the execution just suggests that
it's so inept, and like Greg is not that guy,
right? Right, he's not that Machiavellian. Like he doesn't see like all those steps ahead. He likes to pretend he does, but like and which leads to a hilarious scene where Darwin is trying to get the wasabi out of his eyes, and
Greg pours lemon
LaCroix. Which I always call LaCroix, but whatever. They're more fancy than I am too, and they're screaming at him like, "It's lemon LaCroix! It's lemon LaCroix!"
He put citrus on. He's like, "It's just a little bit lemony. It's water. It's natural. It's medicinal."
To be fair, I think I would have made that Greg move too. If it's like I need to find water, the sparkling.
I could definitely see that. Yeah,
the LaCroix I'd say is good enough because it doesn't. It's like it's fake lemon. It's not real lemon. Like I would totally be in that position, especially like sleep deprived and drugged up like he was. Like it's like I can see that happening. So whether by accident or whether unintentional, Darwin cannot go up there to go on television and talk about this pending call and actually give detail and to the nuance of how important this all is. Yeah, Tom tells Control that they are calling Wisconsin. ATN calls it, and then Mencken, Mencken bites for Tom. Oh, yeah. Okay, so Mencken shows up at the studio as like they're going to call for Wisconsin. Shows up in the middle of it, and of course Tom's like, "You're not supposed to be here." Any of this, but Connor's there to talk to Rome in person and ask him, "Hey,
yes."
Hey, like what, like real talk, like what can I get for like conceding, but like in his direction?
In his direction, which is meaningless because all the polls are closed nationwide.
Right.
But Mencken wants to keep the appearance of momentum.
Yeah.
Going on this night.
Yeah. And then Connor gets ready for his speech of conceding
with the promise of Slovenia ambassadorship. And he and Willa have a conversation where Willa's at least like, well, at least I can have lunch in Vienna. And then Connor replies, and then breakfast in Dubrovnik, which I assume is the capital of Slovenia. I have not looked that up. I'm impressed Connor knew that, if so.
I mean, he's been doing his research on where the fuck he's going to be living. So I would hope he would. But I mean, even surprised he even got that offer. But anyway, the speech that Connor gives is pretty hilarious because it to me, it looks like the kind of the speech, the type of losing speech that you would want to give as a sore loser, but no politician ever does because they want to keep up appearance. Although it does kind of remind me of Dan Kelly's.
Yes. Dan Kelly came closest to this, where he's like, "It's all you motherfuckers' fault." Yes,
you dumbasses.
Like, I'm a billionaire. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to find another pair of tits to suck on.
You flunks.
You flunks.
You flunked in America, like literally, like deuces. I'm going to Slovenia.
Yeah,
dude, like,
and it also comes out that he's like, apparently there's just been a whole like swath of ridiculous drama attached to Connor's campaign, and we just never saw. He's had like 2 different like running mates who both like betrayed him somehow, and like this is what I'm saying when like a Connor Roy political comedy spinoff, give it to me. Please.
Come on, HBO. We know you need spinoffs, okay? Like we know you don't got that. Hey, House of Dragon. What if House of the Dragon bombs, guys? Like you gotta be it. Because and I gotta say, if their dragon fights don't get better next season, which I'm like they probably will. Yeah, I might have to rethink some things, but yeah, like I'm hoping it's gonna be good. But honestly, I'm there for the politics either way. All right.
Yeah,
America, you flunked it. I wrote down Jimenez is keeping the race close. That like past Wisconsin and in the mountain states, Jimenez is still picking up states and keeping it close. Tom comes in with Darwin, and Darwin basically announces that Arizona's going to go red. Arizona's going red.
So now they have the decision. Because now they called Wisconsin. So if they call Arizona, they are calling the entire election for Mencken.
They're boxed in.
They are boxed in. And this leads us into, like, to me, what is one of the most fascinating, because this is like very much a Rome episode, I think. And we get this conversation between him and Kendall about when they were kids.
Yep.
And Rome is like, we always have fucking chicken. Whenever I wanted steak, we would always have fucking chicken. And Kendall's like, yeah, it's because you would always throw a fucking tantrum and they didn't want to reward that. And like, to me, that is just that little exchange just illuminates so much about Rome and his character and his psychology. He is still to this day a little kid throwing a tantrum, and it's not even like he wants to throw a tantrum and have that be why he gets what he wants.
Yeah.
It's not even like, it's not the most efficient or the most logical way to get what he wants in almost every instance, but like he is just locked in to that pattern of behavior.
I tries to even blame it and says like, well, I'm only having a tantrum because I'm not getting what I want here. And it's like, well, but the thing is, if I give you it because of the tantrum, it's kind of like, burning something down because you don't get it. Like burning the courthouse down because you don't agree with the verdict.
Right. And he applies that to society too. He's like, nothing fucking matters. America is a spread pussy waiting for us to fuck it.
Which brings me back to one of our old car discussions where I was talking about Buddhism, but that's neither here nor there.
Yes. Yes. I might still have that quote of yours on my Facebook profile that I haven't looked at in like 10 years.
Yeah, you might. I think it's where I might have looked at it like a little while ago and said like, oh, that is up there. The Buddhism is just like a big giant pussy waiting to get fucked. Like,
man, yeah. So,
but to them, the country is that though. Like it is a big right. We can do whatever we want with it. We can change however we want with this as long as it benefits us.
And then we get Kendall and Shiv, right? And
before we do, there's an important what would Dad do? Who's in our pocket? Like Rome brings up those factors about like he tries to bring that factor of that looming Logan presence that is not there anymore. Kendall says that he's concerned about his kids, but Roman says they'll be.
Like they'll be in the White House, they'll be in the West Wing, and it's like, and in some ways, Roman is absolutely correct. Like I get that like Rava is scared for her daughter, but like Rava, you're still the ex-wife of a billionaire. Your daughter is still the child of a billionaire. So there really is a bottom limit to like how bad her life can actually be.
Oh, she's still way safer than any of us.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like I don't think she should be harassed at school.
No, and I get, yeah, there might be some like unpleasantness, but like there is a limit to how bad her life can be, and that limit is like way higher than it is for like 99% of the population.
Pretty much. But yeah, then we get Kendall talking to Shiv, and I'll let you take it from here.
Well, yeah, so it's like he goes confess, and like I find it interesting because he's like he basically tells Shiv, "I want to be the only CEO," and it's like you guys kind of suck because I can't like just do that, and I can't talk about how I want to be the only CEO, and I'm the only one good enough, and it's like
he's not making decisions all episode.
He's been making decisions. He's been making moves. He's doing it all for the family, and it's like it's interesting because his ambition is self-justifying in that like the only reason that he has for wanting to be CEO is that he wants it, and that's why he should be it. And it's like he has no he has no goals. He has no like business strategy. He just wants to be CEO. The thing of in and of itself. And then we get the you're a good guy, and Kendall's like, I don't know if I'm a good guy, and Shiv's like, no, you're a good guy. And Kendall, I think in one of his most deeply introspective lines is like, what if we're all just so horribly fucked by the monster our father was? And he's like, does that poison seep through? Am I just like toxic to my family? Am I even capable of being a good dad? And
important question to ask for any.
Yeah, and I think it's like one of Shiv's most honest moments of the episode in her own psychology, where she's like, she has to instantly be like, oh no, of course you can be a good dad. Of course that toxic shit doesn't. I think she's very invested in the answer to Kendall's question being no, we're fine. We can be good parents.
And yeah, she says that Mencken is the real nightmare.
Mencken is the real nightmare. But again, I just don't really believe how sincere that is.
Yeah.
Because I think really for her, the real nightmare is Kendall taking over the company.
Yeah.
And she's like, you've tried to him about being a dad? Because like even Kendall can't be like, oh, she not even in this like haze of self-delusion can can they say Kendall is a good dad, but they can be like, oh no, you've tried.
Yeah, well, yeah, you've tried and failed. You try when they do tell you tried your best, that just means that like you fucked it up real bad. But hey,
yeah, because you can feel like she wants to be like, oh no, you were there, and it's like, no, you weren't there. So it's like, you tried? Question mark.
You were alive. You were alive for it. Yeah. So. Yeah. So
yeah, and it's like Kendall said, like, concludes the scene with being like, oh yeah, no, this is our legacy, this is what dad built, and he's just, I can't imagine letting it slip away.
Yeah, and then he asks her to try and call Nate to try and get Jimenez another shot to, like, you know, to try and butter him up at all in case anything goes well, because mostly Kendall's also thinking of like, I just don't want to see Mencken as president really as much. Like, you know, Shiv does get him thinking about his daughter and like kind of like what kind of world that will kind of be. So thinking about that personal thing, he decides that, well, maybe we should just make a deal just so the Gojo thing would work with the other guy.
Right. And Kendall is trying to make the good decision. Yeah. And then Shiv, in like her third major fail of the episode, decides not even to call Nate, and I don't understand why she does that.
Oh, she gives him a hug of betrayal and tells him he's a good guy and says, I'm going to call Nate. And then not only pretends to call him in front of Kendall, like calls him in another room, another glass room, and Kendall watching her on the phone, like just knowing that there's a lot,
right?
There's a lot of him writing out.
I don't understand why she went through that pretense, because like Nate was never going to cut a deal with her, so just actually call Nate.
Just call him and say it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering what her motivation could be, of whether or not she doesn't want to deal with the headache of like just going through that. But the thing is, if she would have done that, she should have come up with a better, less vague excuse than, oh yeah, he's looking at the numbers, he likes it. And it's like, okay, well, you're giving that sliver of hope. Yeah. And not just going for like no, it's not going to work. I'm sorry.
There might be something to like, Nate was her old, like, you know, liberal politics running buddy, and like maybe there's some aspect of she doesn't want him to see just what a corrupt piece of shit she's really trying to be in this scenario. Yeah,
you kind of get the sense that she's like kind of pretending to be a caring liberal, while like, you know, because that's what she talks to him about. She talks to Nate about like, oh my god, we're on the right side. Like, we're on the right side. Like, these guys are crazy in doing this. And but then it's, you know, she's in bed with all these, like, this is her shit. Like this is her, like her shit for real. And it's who she is too. Yeah, but basically the answer she comes back to Ken with is that, yeah, there's something there.
There's something there. They like the deal. They're going to talk about it.
It looks promising.
Roman instantly like calls out like, no, that's fucking nothing.
Yeah. Like, I actually have substance. I have the corruption, like, in words. He's told me what's up. He trusts me. We're there. Like, we got it. This is the option. Bam, bam, bam.
I think this is where Roman hits her with the, like, I think it's because, oh no, wait, no. So this is where, yeah, Kendall goes out and you get that great shot where it's like following him out in the hallway, and you see like cuts to Shiv, and then you see him following, and like you see him talking to Greg, and Greg immediately folds and spills the beans
with great, you know, show don't tell acting from Jeremy Strong, with just like the call to Nate at first, then him staring her down, looking at her in the hallway. Well, the whole time Rome's talking shit to her. Like, like he's like, hey, China's a coming, and she's like, China's time's already come, which I'm like, nah, Shiv, it ain't just begun yet, hon. But yeah, the whole time, like, Rome's talking shit to her and like trying to get in her head, and she's keeping up with it, but still just watching Kendall. And of course, even Greg peeps at Shiv when to reveal that, oh yeah, I'm breaking this bottle right now.
Yeah.
To which Ken just like stares back at her, goes back in the room and says, yeah, so I'm a good fucking guy, huh? Yeah, nice there. Yeah, he just returns and basically like lets Rome know that, like, Shiv is fucking us. Shiv is fucking us to make sure the Gojo deals goes through, and she's working with Madison. She's telling him all the shit we're up to, like what we put her up to in the first place. She's been going against the entire time. She's here to fuck us, and which I thought was hilarious. Rome didn't even really seem to care. Like, no. Rome just was kind of like, oh, you're cutting yourself in too? Oh, like what are you getting, huh? Like,
yeah, it's all fun. I mean, it's all fun, right? Like, it's like nothing actually matters.
No. Not to these people. Not to these people at all. So Shiv tries to defend herself badly, but she's flustered. She's stuttering through her answers. Ken is already just fucking livid with her for just not being honest with him. And at that point he's fully in tilt, and he's pretty much just ready to call it for Mencken. As Tom comes in saying that, like, we're gonna call it, and Kendall, feeling betrayed by Shiv, feels just, I feel like just there's that that's what pushed him emotionally over the edge to just want to side with Roman and just go with it. Because I think he, for the most part, is pretty out of his body for most of this episode. Not really, because he's not really making decisions about anything. It's kind of like Tom, where he's kind of just like flowing with the waves and gonna get drowned. He's kind of getting drowned in that big massive tidal wave that they're going through right now, of like all these external forces at each other's throats, and they're just trying to flow, not really pissing anyone off too much, but also not really benefiting anyone too much either. So it's, how good is it really? Rome pushes Mencken because he's got momentum. Shiv gets on her bad hypocritical democratic soapbox of famous failed children trying to advocate for the rest of the people. Tom comes in to call it. Rome tells him to call it. Shiv begs him not to. Calls Tom Pontius Pilate. Tom goes down. Tom calls Greg to make the call. Greg is in the hallway,
and we get this great scene with him and Jess.
Yep.
Kendall's assistant, where she's just like, they're both just like stunned, and like, honestly, this scene might have been what really encapsulated what I felt on election night 2016. Because I was at work that night, and I just always, it was like 2:30 in the morning when they made the call, and I just remember like talking to my buddy about it, and we were just like, you're shell shocked, because it's like Trump was not supposed to win that election. And
I drank 3 bottles of wine that night.
Yeah, no, me and him were instantly. It was like 2:30 in the morning. We're like, all right, we're definitely hitting the bar after this. Like, we gotta get smashed.
It's bitter like the loss, like very bitter like the loss. And it's not. It's the type of thing where it's like, especially nowadays, it's like, I kind of like to make fun of the libs crying, but even back then, I was not too thrilled. I wasn't too eager to rub it in those libbies' faces. Which I'd feel the same way if it happens again in 2024. Like, it's like I would like to rub it in my political rivals' faces, but I also know that the loss that all of us are taking. So, but to be fair,
it's grim shit.
Yeah, it is. It is all grim shit. It's all the results are pretty much grim shit. Tom. But
Jess is trying to be like, you could just like pause, and like slow this down for a second, and Greg's just like sitting there being like, it's crazy, but like, it's also, I mean, like, his boss is right behind him. Like, Tom literally hits the room like seconds after Greg gets there, so it's like Greg really was powerless in this situation.
So Greg goes into the newsroom, makes the call. Tom reassures it. Darwin looks down like he just ended the world, like he's about to lose his fucking job forever, which is probably going to be the case. That's what I would bet. The Disgusting Brothers make the call for the fascist. Mencken then starts his scary demagogic speech about using keywords like cleanse,
something pure, something clean. You got a little like crooked men making the best deal behind closed doors. That's not me.
I came out of the people, almost willed into existence. And it's funny because it matches up to the dialogue of like, yes, he was willed by a small minority of people.
He has a will to power, you might say.
Claims to not be a demagogue, but a defender of democracy. And although he mentioned he has some criticisms about democracy right away with the whole little, sneaky merchants making deals behind closed doors.
Yes.
So
shout out some Shakespearean anti-Semitism in this speech.
Yeah,
as well.
some real Merchant of Venice shout outs here, which I mean, I feel like we should also almost take a tally of how many Shakespeare plays they shout out to at the end there, because they really like their these writers really like their Shakespeare, and bravo, because guess what, the writing really shows. The writing shows, folks. So you got that there. After that, see, I stopped taking notes after that demagogue speech because I thought I'd be able to remember everything.
That's also where so you don't have any notes after the demagogue speech either? Because that demagogue speech is also where my pen dried up. So I also have no notes after the demagogue speech.
I did have like a few hours ago rewatch, so it's like it is still pretty fresh up there.
Okay.
Because I do remember right after that, like Roman gets the call from Mencken, is like the hey hocus pocus, all right, wait, you mean we'll go far over the road,
over the road into the bar,
yeah. They're basically doing.
And even Rome sounds kind of defeated there, or like breathless at what he just did. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be on cloud 9 going into the funeral the next day.
Drunk with power. I mean, we kind of see that. I don't know if you watched the previews for the next week episode.
Yeah,
but
as like the big showman.
Roman is definitely feeling himself.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to see that spiral down and that tragedy. That's going to be next episode. I mean, all of these I've been so fucking stoked for. So yeah, we get that resolution with Mencken. And then I think Shiv gets the call from Madison, and he's saying that like this shit's crazy. Like this shit's
crazy. Yeah, this is where we see Shiv sounding more genuine than she has all night, being like, "We're gonna fuck them so hard. We're gonna release your Indian numbers when they're buried by all the other news," which is also another reference to like. To News Corp and Murdoch. Apparently, he had a news executive in the UK who sent out an email on 9/11, being like, "Hey, if we have any bad stories, this would be a good time to put them out there."
Right before 9/11.
No, like on 9/11.
Oh,
like after the planes hit, she sent out an email being like, "Hey, do we have any like bad stories that we?"
About them? Okay,
bad. Yeah, do we have any like bad stuff that would look bad for us? Because this would be the perfect time to just quietly put them out there.
Yeah, that's. Hey man, that's that media for you, dude. Fuck, dude, I did not know that. Well, hey, another big.
Yeah, I heard about this on a like one of the podcasts I listened to had a person who was like expert on the Murdoch family, and he was talking about it.
Fuck. All right. Shit. Well, yeah. Shiv says they're gonna fuck him so hard. Then I think we get Kendall going out to a limousine, calling Rava, saying like, "Hey, where are you guys at?" I think they know that Mencken won. He's going over there to like, kind of be with his family before. Well,
he wants to be with his family, yeah. but the kids are asleep, and now 4 a.m. on election night is not the time for Kendall to pretend to be a father. So he's going to see them at the funeral.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, Kendall, of course, not Kendall, Tom gets a million angry phone calls.
A million angry phone calls. A lot of people really want to scream at you. He's like, you see his face on like, probably like the CNN equivalent of Tom Wambsgans totally fucked up the election call tonight.
Yep, he's making his mom proud. That Tom Wambsgans. Good kid. But yeah, I think we about ended there because we pretty much like end out on them. No Kendall like swimming in the ocean, just just the feeling of uncertainty in the wee hours of the morning before said funeral, where probably Tom Watkins hasn't gotten like any sleep the last couple nights. So is Greg. So right, we're kind of on a sleep deprived schedule run around here, and the next episode is the funeral of Logan Roy, which should be something. Because I'm sure the president elect will be there. Which president elect will be there, we don't know.
Could be both of them. Yeah. I mean,
it could. A lot of things can happen, but more than anything, like you mentioned earlier, I am so excited for the delusions of grandeur that Roman will have, and his little hyper speech, which I'm hoping Jerry will then use as her time to like bring shit forward.
I hope we get some Jerry here. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it'd be good to see her actually like have twist his nuts a little bit, like has been hinted at throughout this season. So yeah. I'm pretty stoked for that. I'm stoked for some more because now Connor doesn't really have like any like other motivations at this point. So like I'm also kind of hoping that like he'll
Connor could just like, hey guys, my brother killed somebody, and you should know about that.
Does Connor know about that?
I think so. I think all the kids do.
Oh no, really?
Was he?
Because I remember Kendall giving it away.
Roman and Shiv definitely know. Wasn't Connor there too?
No, I think just in that moment where Ken was breaking down and like Rome was kind of rubbing his shoulders, that he just told that to Ken and Shiv.
Okay.
I think. I'm pretty sure, because that's when he was breaking down and saying like I'm not a good person. Then Rome had to give him the whole rebuttal of like, well, hey man, like you went back and you tried to get him. Like, it sounds like you tried to save him. Like that's better than nothing. I mean, you basically gave him, it's like you're better than Ted Kennedy speech.
Yeah.
Of like, right, like you at least tried for him, which I'm like, oh yeah, you are better than Ted Kennedy, but you still did cover up his death and try to get away with it, which honestly, I'm not sure what laws he'd be breaking in England. Probably vehicular manslaughter and like, unintended death or something like that. But
yeah,
nothing that the Roys would have been able to sweep under the rug.
We should get Marsha next week. That's also exciting.
Oh yes. I want another Marsha Willa wrap up. That'd be good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm having a hopeful feeling that next episode there's going to be a lot of unraveling, and the penultimate will have
it'll set the stage for whatever the finale, and I still don't have like a clear picture in my mind of like what this finale could be.
I mean, I'm imagining, well, that's the thing, is that like I mean we know Gojo will probably fall apart.
I mean, who knows, right?
Yeah, like, no, it's. I mean, I keep thinking it's like, well, either like Menken's gonna do what they want and kill it, or like Madison's gonna kill it, and that's the thing. But the thing, if Madison's working with Shiv, it's like he doesn't really have the motivation to do so. It's like, well, we're gonna fuck him, right? Like we're gonna give him all this shit, but it's like, I'm not too sure. Well, honestly, too, if it's like, it just depends on whatever Shiv's got up her sleeve. Like, because that's the thing, is like I don't quite know like what she really have up there. Like,
I don't have any confidence in Shiv though. Just like I don't have any confidence in Roman or Ken. Like, in my gut, I feel like it all ends up in rubble and ashes. Just following like the Shakespearean tragedy trend.
Yeah.
Like, no one really wins in Shakespearean tragedies.
Yeah. Yeah. And
like Madsen for a while looked like he might have been like a Fortinbras, but like I don't think he's a Fortinbras.
Is Fortinbras the King of France? In King Lear?
No, Fortinbras is the king in Hamlet who like sweeps in after everyone is dead and takes over the country.
Okay.
Like it's I don't see Matt, like after these past couple episodes, I don't see Madsen on top either. So no.
I mean, there's too many vulnerabilities, and it's I mean, I don't know. Jesse Armstrong and the writers kept it fucking open ended and nice, where it's like you're able to have discussions about it, and you're able to kind of play around with like whether, I mean, I don't think any of the siblings are going to get it. I'm like, my hopes are still going to like, well, maybe Connor gets a piece and Willa gets it. Like Willa is now like overtaking Greg in my running now. Like I'm hoping that she just gets it and becomes like a more cutthroat Martha in the future.
Yeah. Like in the Shakespearean context, Greg is the fool. He is the.
Or is it Roman?
Fool. No, it's not Roman.
Really? Because the thing is about Roman is that he does like many fools, he ends up saying truthful things that are too true.
I think he's too high status to be a fool.
To be considered the fool. That's a fair point.
And like the Shakespearean context.
That's a fair point.
Like fools are always like servants or like hangers on or like other like lower status people who exist to be like talked down on and be like the butt of jokes.
Sounds like Rome to me though. Still, I mean, he's still above cousin Greg, but like among the family, who's the dog everyone kicks?
I mean, it's Connor. Connor's the dog everyone kicks.
No, that's true. That's true too. That's true too. But Connor, well, yeah. Connor doesn't really have exactly that like that fool characteristic too, where like they're smarter than they look. Well, Rome isn't smarter than he looks either. Rome, I just think Rome is just
Rome is not right. Rome is as dumb and childish and shitty as he looks.
Yeah, just about.
like Mattson summed it up last episode when he was talking to Shiv in that coat room, where he was like, "I thought all these people would be complicated, but they're not."
No,
and I feel like so much of this entire series has been various people like the entire like so much of the commentary I've heard about this show has been like, oh, maybe Kendall's had like a good moment here, or Roman had like one good exchange here. That means that they must be like way more capable than we normally see them just outside of Logan. It's like, no, they're not. Yeah, they're all shitty broken people who have no business being where they are.
I saw a little video essay that was trying to suggest that Kendall is the most is the successor that should be, and the first part is he's a good businessman. I was like, well, no, he's not. He's shown, like, he shows right away and throughout the series, beginning to end, that he's a shit businessman. Like the best thing that to his credit, the best thing I think his character probably does is he's good with like public speaking for certain things.
Yes.
Like the Apple presentation with improvisation, he ended up doing.
That's like the one good business moment in the entire show,
which ultimately came down to like him bullshitting without having anyone talk back to him.
Yeah,
it's almost like negotiating via letter. It's like you don't really have to. You can say your whole piece before having the response come back. And it's a little bit different than just talking to people in person, and where they could suggest things on the fly.
Anytime Kendall tries to like talk to someone face to face, it goes horribly because Kendall is just such a awkward fucking human being.
And he just doesn't read people. Like he just like and it's almost as if like he's trying these techniques, and it's like the person's going, it's not working, but he just hammers through. He just doesn't care. It's almost as if he just keeps striking at the shield, hoping it's going to break it, but.
Yeah,
it doesn't get through. He's not his dad. He doesn't have. I mean, that's the thing, is that if they had the status of actually working their company up to this, they might have some of the same sway as their dad, but they never achieved anything themselves. So
yeah, like I agree, Kendall is the main character of the show.
Yeah,
but I don't think that means that he's going to have a good outcome.
If anything, it suggested it might be one of the more tragic outcomes, but for a lot of these people, it could look tragic. But granted, we have not seen these characters really pay real consequences yet. Like the only one,
and that also like, there could be an entire layer of cynicism added to the end of it, where like they do all end up happily ever after because they're fucking filthy rich and nothing really does matter.
Yeah. Of like nobody goes to jail, or even if they do lose most of their wealth, they each have $5 million and they're the shortest strong man at the circus, as Connor would say. And they just get to live in, still luxury, but not the luxury they used to have.
Maybe. Yeah.
Which would be a hell for them. And I think would make me smile. But
I mean, even if they all each had $1 billion, but like did not have the company and were just nobodies with billions of dollars, that would also be to them as devastating as like any kind of real consequences, you know?
Because they only get to be billionaires. Yeah.
They don't get to be best friends with the presidents. It's like, oh, poor baby.
Not like they're very good at that anyway. I mean,
they're not.
Yeah. I mean, and we'll see with Roman. I think you're onto something too with Rome being naive and going to get swindled by Mencken, because Mencken looks like a snake, and I think they're going to write it.
He does. Man, what a great performance from Justin Kirk, who I only know from Weeds, where he plays like kind of like a dissolute, clownish stoner, and then to see him like totally transformed into this like fucking like insipid Nazi snake, it's like, man, what a great turn.
Yeah. Yep. Honestly, it's one of those shows too where it's like I feel like the writing and the other actors really just elevate out like every actor you see there. So yeah, I imagine we'll see Fuchs from Barry in the next episode, because I think
that would be he was like Logan's like personal pastor or whatever. Yeah.
So I think we'll see a bit from him. I'm just stoked for these last two. Just stoked for these last couple. Like I'm ready to go with it.
And we didn't get much of the corpos, but like we have to keep an eye on them too. Not just Jerry, but like Carl and Frank could still make moves too.
Yeah.
It'll be all very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, we didn't get to see much for Frank. All we got to see is that Frank making a joke that, it
was like Connor's running for president. Yeah.
Oh yeah, who cares? Like, I mean, granted, out of all the suits, fucking love you, Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's about all I got to say about this episode.
Yeah, I think that does it for me too.
I think that's about it for this week. So,
until next time, keep working.
Keep on working.
Back on my feet, that is, if you even care.
Yeah.